Hey, what's up? And welcome back to another episode of the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Got my guy Richie here with us tonight. Duke's got some family stuff and work stuff that he's got to tend to, so stepping in for him. I'm stepping in for him tonight. Richie is always on Thursdays. But Richie, how's your week going?
Hey man, it's going good. Getting ready for Christmas coming up next week. Just counting down the
Yep.
days with the girls, and it's coming soon. We're 6 days away, man. Tomorrow's
It's coming
Friday,
so fast. Yeah,
and we got
it's
and we
coming
got
so fast.
playoff football this weekend, buddy.
I know it's crazy because I'm gonna have the kids Saturday and Sunday, and I'm gonna take them Christmas shopping. But Saturday it's loaded with games, both NFL and playoffs, and then Sunday obviously you got all the NFL action. But gonna have to just go out there and get it done because after that we're running out of shopping days for
We
Christmas
are.
right now.
We are.
So other than that, man, it's been a week. I was feeling much better yesterday, and then kind of got kicked back down today. But I'm getting better. I'm gonna be healthy by Christmas. I promise you. No
That, that
matter what.
that's our game plan, man. We gotta,
Yeah,
I sent you those remedis. Hopefully,
yeah. I'm gonna make a little hot toddy or whatever it takes.
yeah, a hot toddy thanks to the resident nurse in my parents'
Exactly.
house. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But got a lot going on, man. It's getting down to crunch time. I mean, obviously Notre Dame plays tomorrow night, and then Saturday you have the other three playoff games going on. Was cruising around the old social media websites and apps earlier today, and do you know who Ohio's Tate is? The dude
Junk.
from Barstool? No, the
Oh,
Ohio's Tate.
yes, Ohio State. Yes, I know who.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something. He was gonna buy a Tennessee jersey if Tennessee won and do something else.
He's going to plant a flag in the Capitol Square in Columbus, and then take a shot of moonshine while Rocky Top blares on Christmas morning. We will see how that goes.
We will see.
All I know is at least this time, if he doesn't do it, the season's over if they've lost, so it can't tank the rest of their season like the old Florida State dog shit guy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, with the
but
burrito.
yeah,
No, that was
exactly.
BYU. That was BYU.
Oh yeah,
With the
yeah.
burrito.
The burrito guy did it allegedly. I didn't watch the video, but he
No,
did it.
that's
But yeah, the guy that was supposed to eat a red Solo cup full of dog shit did not do it, and I from everything I know has totally disappeared. What's up, Brendan? Appreciate you tuning in. I know we're going a little late tonight, but I missed this one. Saw the uni reveal. Pants do look more good, metallic gold than mustard gold. I think the unis are going to look really clean. They're going to look really good on them.
yeah.
I've heard a lot of people still talking that there might be a little surprise, and maybe this reveal is just to throw people off the scent. But I believe those are the uniforms they're going to wear.
I believe so too. The stitching and everything looked pretty accurate with the jerseys, with the patch on the back on the jersey and the name, like you said, the names. Notre Dame doesn't have names on their backs on the back of the
No, not
jersey.
normally. Not normally. Yeah. No,
So
normally they don't.
I think those are the ones that they're going with.
Yeah.
They might black out the stadium, but who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm down for that. But they look cool, and we'll get into Notre Dame a lot tomorrow. We might talk a little Notre Dame today, but we're going to use today to get everybody ready for the Saturday games, and then tomorrow we'll be going live. Haven't decided what time. It'll be well before kickoff, so that we're done in plenty of time. And then I don't know if you saw this, Richie. Well, here you can answer this real quick before we break it down later in the show.
I don't know what to expect. I don't know how they're going to, get over that slump from 3 weeks ago. That shocking disappointment. Good job, honey. Sorry, I got Quinny. I got Quinny downstairs with me. She's drinking her nighttime shake. Um, I don't know. I hope they come. I hope Brian Day comes playing with the game plan, playing pissed off. I hope Chip Kelly, does learn from the mistake of the game plan running into the tackles in Mason Graham and Michigan, and they let it fly. I mean, you gotta let her all hang. You gotta play hard. You gotta play fast. You gotta play physical, and you gotta let her all hang. just like my
Yeah.
old high school coach used to say.
Yep. Let it all hang out, right? But we'll jump into and break down that game a little later in the show, as well as Clemson, Texas, and Penn State, SMU. And I'll give you my thoughts on it and see what you think about that. But who do you think is the worst owner in the NFL?
Oh, the goddamn Jets' owner.
The goddamn Jets, Woody Johnson. I mean, this is just, you can't even make this shit up.
I'm like, I saw that. I'm like, this can't be real. I'm like, really, dude? Come on.
Yeah. He's got, first of all, they had a deal in place with the Broncos to bring Jerry Jeudy over, add a weapon for Rodgers. And allegedly, the Broncos GM was told that Woody Johnson vetoed it because Jerry Jeudy's Madden rating was too low. That I think he was like an 81 overall. And so he went out and signed Mike Williams, who was an 87.
And that's based off last year's stats and rankings and how EA does their stats. I'm glad he looks. I know a couple Jets fans. One of my buddy's brother, he's a big Jets fan, and I'm sure he's just like, "Oh my god!"
Just never.
I saw that. I'm like, dude, you don't know shit about football, and you're an owner. I mean,
right?
It's just like the reflection of David Tepper down in Carolina, wanting Bryce Young and Matt Rule wanted C.J. Stroud. Like, come on, dude. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a bad look, and it's just these owners that don't know football just need to get out of the way. Like, it's cool that you have a bunch of money, you want to own an NFL franchise. Maybe you like watching games, going to games, whatever. But hire people that know football and let them do their job. Like, step in and be like, no, we don't want Jerry Jeudy. He's only an 81 overall. Is ridiculous. But then I saw a list of other things he's done recently. So obviously he told the Broncos GM that Jerry Jeudy's Madden rating was too low. He also followed decision-making advice from his teenage son, and the Jeudy trade wasn't the only time Johnson cited Madden ratings when evaluating players. And then this one cracks me up. When the Jets traded Zach Wilson to the Broncos, Johnson asked the team to trade pick 256 instead of 257 because Woody Johnson wanted to keep the Mr. Irrelevant pick so the Jets can draft their own Brock Purdy.
The level of incompetence at the professional level is just more and more astounding, Carter, year after year.
Yep. And they ended up taking a safety out of Alabama at that 257 pick, and he didn't even make it through camp.
He's probably going to the UFL. He's probably signed with one of the UFL teams for spring.
Something like that. And then also last year, Johnson started to include his sons, Brick and Jack, who are 17 and 15, in team meetings. They would share social media posts from various Jets content outlets about what's being said about the team. And he would use their information and weigh it equally against the opinion of anyone in the department. And said an executive, I answer to a teenager. What are we doing?
I'm like, here's my 2 weeks. I'm done. I can't do this shit.
Yep.
I'm not going to answer to a teenager. Do these kids even play football? That's the other thing.
No, I have no idea.
What's their level of knowledge of football? Because they play Madden? Shit, I've been playing Madden for 22 years.
Probably longer than that. But
24, yeah, something like that. But I'm like, I would never base that off of a draft pick in a franchise and trading for somebody. That's asinine.
Yep. And then Johnson also pushed back against the signing of John Simpson due to his low awareness rating in Madden. Like this
just keeps getting worse and worse. Dude.
He really values these Madden ratings. And then in 2022, when QB Mike White played through broken ribs in a game versus the Seahawks, White played poorly. The Jets lost, officially eliminating the team from playoff contention. After the game, teammates heard Woody Johnson say, "You should throw your helmet. You fucking suck." What are we doing? I mean, this guy.
That's Al Davis type of shit right there.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's a bad look, and he doesn't know football, and the Jets are just a shit organization because of him. And it's I don't know how anybody wants to go play there at this point.
I think G5 wants out of there, bro.
Yeah, I know. He's targeting. He's going to ask for a trade. I heard, and he's targeting the Commanders and the Texans. Wants to go play with Scary Terry and Jaden Daniels, or Stephon Diggs and C.J. Stroud.
I don't blame him. Of course, I would love him if Jason Light down in Tampa would pull the trigger and offer a 3rd-round pick and get a Buckeye down in Tampa. That's what I would love. But
that'd be nice, right?
That's wishful thinking, man, on my part.
Absolutely. In other news, we had some transfer portal stuff come through, and Malik Murphy, former Texas quarterback that went to Duke and had a decent year at Duke, had hit the transfer portal, and he has committed to Oregon State.
Beavas.
I don't know about you. I think this is it's not even a lateral move. It's a downgrade for him, right?
I would say so.
Like, I mean, you gotta look at Oregon State.
The Duke football programs, they've been kind of on the up and up with talent-wise.
Yeah,
Oregon State,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, obviously Duke put in some quarterbacks in the NFL. Riley Leonard was at Duke and got a big $1 million contract to go to Notre Dame, and then this kid goes to Oregon State, which doesn't really have a path to the playoffs. Like, they're not in a real conference. I don't understand that. I guess maybe they have money that they offered him, but interesting fall from grace for a once really highly thought of recruit, and was supposed to be, Quinn Ewers' backup, and then obviously Arch Manning came and that he saw the writing on the wall there. But I mean, I just don't get it. The market must not have been there for him, is all I can think. That's all I can think there.
It's turning out like this quote unquote transfer portal is turning into, I keep saying, like a free agency class in college. I mean, you're gonna have down years and you're gonna have up years of guys transferring in, or transferring in, transferring out. It's what it's come to, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rough, and there's a lot of action going on in the portal. Obviously, I know the one running back Ohio State was targeting, committed to somebody else. I forget who. But
I just saw it. Yeah, somebody else.
Yeah, but
was it Texas Tech? No, it wasn't Texas Tech.
It might have been somebody like that. But regardless, also they released the top 10 most valuable college athletic programs in the country, based off of what their valuation would be as if you could buy or sell the team or the program. And I don't think this is shocking for anybody here, but Ohio State comes in at number 1, worth, I don't know why they did the numbers this way, $1,318 million. Now that's $1.3 billion. They're worth $1.3 billion. You got Texas at $1.28 billion at number 2, Texas A&M at $1.26, and then Michigan at just over $1 billion. And then obviously Bama and Notre Dame just under $1 billion, and then Georgia, Nebraska, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. Any teams on this list that you were a little surprised to see ranked as high as they are?
I'm surprised with Nebraska. Texas A&M doesn't surprise me. Bama, Georgia, no. Yeah. I'm surprised Oregon's not on there.
Yeah, I am too.
Phil Knight money, man.
Yeah, I am too. I guess it just is. Nebraska obviously has a little more long-standing tradition in football, and there's really nothing else going on in Nebraska. So everybody in Nebraska and around Nebraska is really big into, the Big Red out there. Oklahoma being number 10 was kind of surprising to me. I mean, they haven't really been that relevant since Baker left.
Yeah, since Baker, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Notre Dame being, number 6, not shocking to me. I think that's right where I would expect them to be, probably pushing for top 5, which they're close. But other than that, I mean, that just gives you an idea, like $1.3 billion for Ohio State. Like, that just gives you an idea of how much money is involved in this college football nowadays. And when you're talking about programs, spending $20-30 million on a roster, that's why they can, right? They're worth that, and they got the boosters to fund it.
Yeah, and it surely helps with the having that that B next to the dollar sign,
Right. Yeah. There's only 4 schools that do. And, but I did see full top 25. I'm not going to break it down or throw it up here, but I think Penn State was just outside the top 10 at like number 11 or 12. Kentucky was in the top 20, probably because of basketball. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
but
let's call a spade here.
Exactly. So it's crazy to me the amount of money that's in college football right now, and just it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, it is. It's going to get. Do you think it could surpass the NFL in terms of like revenue?
I don't think so. I don't think so, just because I think the NFL has such a stranglehold on it right now, and they've been set up to be a money-making machine since it started, right? So they've obviously done a lot of really good things to grow that market and everything like that, whereas college football originally wasn't set up to make money. Then it started to make money, and everybody was like, oh, we can make money with this. And now they're trying to figure out how to continue to make money while having to pay players and things like that. So I think it's going to be tough for college football to ever surpass the NFL. I guess the one thing is you would have a lot more member institutions in college football than you do in the NFL, right? There's only 32 teams in the NFL. There's 134 in FBS or whatever. So I guess, it could be spread out amongst teams, and the teams themselves won't be worth as much. Like, I don't know what the current valuations are, but I'm sure that Cowboys are worth like 10 billion, right? And the Raiders and stuff like that. So I doubt you see Ohio State and those guys get up in the $10 billion range anytime soon, but who knows, man? It'll be interesting to see. I mean, it'll all depend on how things go over the next 5 years or so. And if things change, and how they change, right? Because you could potentially have right now, a lot of the wealth in college football is obviously top heavy, but then it's also spread out so much because they have to. And if they just condense it down and create like a power league that's 40 to 50 schools, then all that wealth gets cut, amongst 50 instead of amongst 134. Right. And so at that point, maybe they could grow a little bit more that way. But it'll be interesting, man. I'm not sure what to make of it right now, and we'll see. Obviously, there's a lot of legalities that go into everything with the transfer portal and NIL and whatnot. But in other news, kind of a big deal, and I'm not sure what to think of it, but the court ruling came out on Diego Pavia, and they decided that JUCO years are no longer going to count towards your eligibility in college football. So Pavia played a year or two at a JUCO before he started playing college football. And normally that would count towards your eligibility. So you still only have 5 years, even though you wasted 2 of them, not wasted, but spent 2 of them at a JUCO. Now those that year or 2 doesn't count. So he's eligible for another year. Does he stay at Vandy, do you think?
I think he hits it. I think he hits the portal after bowl season to see who can offer him the most money, because he's got that extra year of eligibility. I mean, he's been playing decent this year. I mean, the one signature win, they beat Bama.
Yeah, absolutely. They beat Bama, and he's looked good at times. I would be interested to see. I think if I'm him, I'm putting my name in the portal at least, just to see what's out there and what kind of deal I can get. I don't know what Vandy's NIL looks like, and I'm sure he's going to get a decent amount from them, but it'll be interesting. Let's see. That's really all I got as far as the social media stuff. We'll go ahead and reset the show here real quick and then jump more into college football and what's going on and in the landscape as we prepare for these playoff games. But we do have the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith, ESPN Bracket Challenge. You officially have until 8 p.m. tomorrow night when the Notre Dame kicks off to enter your bracket and send Richie a Venmo to be considered in the bracket pool. So I will put the link in the description of this episode and all the leading up episodes after the show tonight. But it's just ESPN. Go to ESPN Fantasy, click on the bracket challenge, just search Andre Duke. It'll pull up our group. Password is Laces Out, capital LACESOUT 2024. Go ahead and enter your bracket. It's going to be a $20 buy-in. I haven't checked it, but I know we were up to like 12 to 15 people in there right now. And we're going to go ahead and do winner take all. So, after the playoffs end sometime in January, you could be, you can get a nice little $300-400 or something, who knows?
Yeah. Well, nice little payout to start the new year off.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, other than that, I appreciate everybody tuning in. If you could hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube, like the episode, hit the bell notification so you get notified when we go live, because we do go live typically Monday through Friday at 7:30. Obviously, sometimes schedules shift with all of us being dads with responsibilities and everything like that. So tonight was a little bit later, but Monday through Friday, we're on here. Typically, might do a Saturday show every now and then as well. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over and join the chat. We got a few different people in here tonight, blowing it up with questions and everything like that. So I'd love to interact with you guys and let you guys kind of drive the narrative of the show, ask questions and everything like that. But other than that, we'll get to Brendan's question real quick. Tomorrow is definitely going to be the longest day of my life as well. I am not looking forward to, I have to work in the morning and then I'm taking the afternoon off so I can go get some things done and get ready. I'm not going to be in South Bend. Unfortunately, I figured I could not get that done just because of my schedule with the kids and everything like that. And unfortunately, I would give a lot of things to be there because I think it's going to be an awesome environment. And we got Duke in here, chanting SEC for some reason. It's who knows. I'm going to tell him in a minute.
Who is this guy?
Hey, dude can't get on the camera and do his show on a Thursday night, but he can get in the chat and blow up some SEC BS.
Yeah.
And speaking of the SEC, we have two SEC schools that are going to be in action on Saturday. We will save Ohio State and Tennessee for a little later, but Clemson takes on Texas Saturday at the 4:00 game. When you look at it, man, it's going to be a God, Duke, shut up. I'm not even putting that up. It is going to be, I think it's going to be a fun game, man. You look at it.
I think it's going to be a good game.
When you're looking at it, you look at Clemson, obviously, they have 3 losses, kind of got I won't say lucky because they beat SMU. They had that game pretty in hand. SMU made a comeback, and then the kid hit a 56-yarder as time expired to win the game in the ACC championship. So I won't say they lucked into a playoff berth, but they had to have a lot of things fall in their favor to even get into that playoff game or to get into that championship game so that they would have a shot at making the playoffs. And then Texas obviously has been one of the top ranked teams the entire year, goes into the SEC championship facing the only team they lost to all year in Georgia. And unfortunately for them, drops the ball again. And then now they're sitting at the 5 seed, taking on Clemson at home in Austin, Texas. What are your initial thoughts? What do you think when you look at this, and what do you think is going to happen on Saturday?
You know what, man? I've been going back and forth on my bracket. Dabo's been there. Dabo's been in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He's won championships. He knows what it takes to win. Even though the playoff was as we all know, it was at 14. It was at 4 teams. Mm-hmm. Now as it's expanded. I think their experience and his way to get his guys locked in, ready to get focused to play Texas Saturday, that might be their advantage. Now Sark's been there 2-3 years.
It might be 4 or 5 by now, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Texas just getting in the playoffs the last couple of years. I give the edge to Clemson because
mm-hmm.
they know what it takes for that grind to perform in the playoffs. I mean, Dabo, Clemson, when your brother was coaching, shut out Ohio State. Like I never thought I'd see Ohio State get shut out in that playoff
mm-hmm.
game. Blew the doors off Bama in the Natty the one year. I know we've talked down about Dabo, but I think he's going to have him juiced and ready to go, man. I'm going with Clemson for the upset.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I here's why I give it pause. I think when you look at it, I think Clemson's offense is decent. They only average about 275 yards a game through the air, about 180 on the ground, just over 450 total offense. putting up, scoring over 35 points a game, which is great. But I don't know. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, man, Clemson might just pull this off. And that's the way I've been feeling going into it. But the more I look at it and the more I hear people say that Clemson is going to upset Texas, the less confident I am in that actually happening. Clemson's defense has given up just over 22 points a game. Look at Texas. Texas scores at almost the same clip, 34 points per game, but that defense at Texas only gives up 12 points a game. That defense at Texas is only allowing just over 100 yards a game in rushing and barely over 120 yards passing. So, like, Texas's defense, they have their struggles on offense. Obviously, they've had a lot of injuries at the running back position. Quinn Ewers has been less than stellar. But you look at it, and that Texas defense, I just don't know if Cade Klubnik and Clemson can really go out there and score points on them. I think, in my opinion, I don't know what the over-under is right now, but I'm guessing it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game. I don't think Texas's offense has Clemson's offense has crazy firepower to continue to score on this defense. I think Texas has decent skill players, and it's going to come down to Quinn Ewers. And I know if Duke was in here, Duke would be telling you, well, Arch Manning's probably going to play. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to live and die by the Quinn Ewers gun. And if Quinn goes out and shows you anything that he showed you last year or at glimpses of it this year, I think Texas can win this game pretty easily. But if Quinn goes out, struggles, turns the ball over, and looks kind of like how he's looked all year, I don't know. I mean, do you think what situation do you think Texas has to be in for Sark to actually make a switch at quarterback in the college football playoff right now?
I think if he throws 2 picks and loses a fumble in the first half, he's going to make second half adjustments and put in Arch. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, if that does happen, that's the last half we'll ever see Quinn Ewers playing in a Texas uniform.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. I don't think it's going to, but it wouldn't shock me. Obviously, we've seen it before. Alabama put in Tua over Jalen Hurts in the second half, and because he couldn't throw the ball, Jalen couldn't get it done through the air, and they said, "All right, we need to throw the ball," so we're putting Tua in. So it wouldn't be the first time that somebody's made a switch at halftime of a game or anything like that in the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. I think they believe in Quinn Ewers enough to give him, unless he's just playing like dog shit. Like, I mean, if he throws 3 picks in the first half or something, you got to take him out. It's like a goalie that gives up like 3 goals in the first period in hockey. Like, okay, you're our starter, but tonight's not your night. Let's get somebody else in there, see if we can stop the puck, see if we can get some momentum, and then we'll figure it out with you mentally for later, right?
Right, exactly.
I think for Quinn, though, if he gets pulled, it's bye. And I don't know what that does to his draft stock if he does get pulled. If Arch Manning goes in and leads this team from a deficit to victory or anything like that. Like, if I'm an NFL team, I don't know. That gives me something to pause at.
Yeah, I'd be very hesitant on drafting him if he even decides to go out for the draft.
Yeah, well, I did see it. I think it was CBS Sports or something put out that he intends to enter the draft. They haven't announced it officially, but somebody reported that that's his intention as of now. Obviously, that could all change with either an injury or some playing poorly in the playoffs or whatever. But I believe they did say that's his intentions right now. But
I don't see him going first round, Carter. I see him going mid-second.
Yeah,
mid-second, early third at the latest.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting because this class of quarterbacks is not very deep or talented. So I mean, you're going to get that typical NFL bump for the quarterbacks where they all are going to overreach and draft guys that you don't think they should in the top 15, and you'll go out and you'll take a Johnny Manziel or something like that in the first round when you shouldn't. But
I mean, every draft season they pick 3 quarterbacks to focus on and pump up and give them the hype, and usually they falter. Most of them, like Josh Rosen.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Poor guy. They took him, put him with Arizona, and then it was a terrible roster, and then they had the number 1 pick and said, all right, we're drafting Kyler Murray. You can go get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Poor guy. But Brennan has some comments here. Texas has that choking in the big game syndrome. I agree. I mean, that's the other side of it. Texas has only played really 2 big games this entire year, and they lost both of them. Right. And if you look at their schedule outside of that, I guess Texas A&M might count as a big game or at least a ranked win, and they did, secure that. But outside of that, they've played really mediocre opponents most of the year. But on top of that, Duke says Clemson all the way. See, that just tells me more and more Texas is going to win. Would not be surprised if Clemson won. Dabo knows how to win even when they are down. I agree. Dabo, I trust more in the playoffs than I do Sark. Although Sark's been to the playoffs, and I don't believe he's ever won a playoff game though. Personally love Dabo, even though he needs to get with the transfer portal. Well, they did sign their first ever non-quarterback in the transfer portal this week, so maybe that's a sign that he is going to get with the times and start utilizing the transfer portal. He's not going to go get a class of kids out of the transfer portal in high school, as he calls it. But of course, Duke gets Manning time. Yeah, all right. We'll see. Outside of that game, I mean, what do you think? I guess if Clemson's gonna win, what do you think the score is gonna be?
Carter, when we were earlier when we were talking about that, I think it's gonna be tight. I think it's gonna be a 23-17 ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna come down to turnovers and missed tackles.
Yep, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that is very, I won't say likely, but I think that's very possible. And so I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be I believe Texas is favored by 7.5. All these first round games, the home team is favored by at least a full touchdown. I think it's 7.5 for Texas, 7.5 for Ohio State, maybe 8.5 for Notre Dame, and then like 11.5 for Penn State. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And that's why I think we might have one upset for sure. Well, not for sure, but I think there's going to be an upset, right? I just don't know which game it's going to be. I'm pretty confident in one or two of the games, and then the other two I think are toss-ups. And the one that I feel like I'm confident in, but then I look at it and I go, well, you never know. Like crazier things have happened, right? You look at this SMU Penn State game. Obviously, it's going to be in Happy Valley. It's going to be a crazy environment. I've been there before. It's a crazy place, and so I'm sure they will make it such. But you look at this SMU team. I mean, offensively, they put up numbers.
Yes,
they're averaging 38.5 points per game, rushing at just over 150 yards per game, passing at about 275. And so the offense puts up some numbers. They obviously have that quarterback that is a good athlete and a good player. If he can keep himself under control and not play too out of control and make some mistakes like he did against Clemson early. I don't know. And then, Penn State's offense, nothing great, but it's solid. I mean, they average 33.6 points per game, run the ball for about 175 yards a game, maybe close to 200 even, and then pass it at about 250. Drew Aller, I think, is the X factor in this game. I think if Drew Aller goes out and can spin it, he could be the reason Penn State could win big. I'm
curious to see how well SMU's offensive line can contain Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I think that's a big question mark. Obviously, SMU's offensive line, I don't believe has faced really anybody at the level of Abdul Carter or this Penn State defensive front. When you look at the defense side of the ball, Penn State's defense is one of the best in the country. I mean, that's just they're giving up 16 points a game, only allowing a little over 100 yards rushing, a little over 150 yards passing. I mean, they don't give a lot, and even against Ohio State. They had some big plays on defense that obviously the pick six to start the game was big, and Ohio State got their rhythm against them. But Penn State's defense has looked great at times. SMU's defense, decent, not nothing special. I mean, their run defense is pretty good. They're giving up under 100 yards a game in rushing, only allowing opponents to score just over 20 points. They do allow a little bit more passing. Pushing 200 yards a game or 250 yards a game passing. But I think that the difference here is like you said, can the SMU offensive line control the line of scrimmage at all? Or is Abdul Carter going to absolutely wreck the game? And then can Drew Aller, spin it and take care of the ball? I think they obviously have their running back duo that is really good in Singletary and Katron Allen. And then Tyler Warren's a dude at tight end. I mean, he obviously they did lose their kind of wildcat quarterback, Bo Pavia or whatever, right? Now Bo, I forget. But
I forget. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
But they lost him, but they run the wildcat with the running backs and Tyler Warren. So they'll have wrinkles for it. This offensive coordinator at Penn State loves to do all kinds of crazy motions and different things to try to get defenses confused, and it works for the most part. I think this one comes down to, and at the same time, like we were talking about with Texas, Penn State really hasn't had to face any great opponents other than Ohio State and then Oregon in the Big Ten title game. And I think Oregon controlled most of that game until they kind of let Penn State back into it. And Penn State, I was surprised by Penn State that they were able to hang with Oregon and kind of go blow for blow with them as long as they did. So I don't know. I think, Brendan likes this to be the most likely upset.
I mean, that's in the back of my mind too. I'm like, what if SMU goes in there? Yes, it's going to be the whiteout, crazy atmosphere, as you stated. I wonder if they can go in there and just shock the world, as they say.
Yeah. Well, the one good thing SMU has going for it is the coach on the other sideline is known for kind of blowing it in big games. And so he's 0-2 in big games this year. And this is none bigger than this. This is to keep your season alive, win or go home. And so I could definitely see that. And, the one thing that I don't like, and that's what, like Brendan said, with the 2-score spread, I hate when they do that because, man, you just give that other team so much bulletin board material. Like, man, they don't respect us. They don't even think we should be here. Like, they think this team's just going to come out and walk all over us. And I've seen it way too many times where teams that get kind of a chip on their shoulder like that turn around and go, we play real football too, right? As the Navy coach said, we still got a football program here. And so I could see it. It wouldn't surprise me. I think if I had to pick and I was going to bet money, which I'm not betting money on this game because I don't like the spread, I don't like the odds, and I don't like the chance that James Franklin blows it. But if I had to bet money, I would bet on Penn State to win. I don't know if I'd bet on them to cover, though.
Right. I'd go straight up money line. I wouldn't pick the spread. I wouldn't pick the over under. No, I just pick them to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so what do you think as far as score predictions? Are you taking SMU or Penn State?
I'm going to give it to Penn State 35-27.
35-27. Okay. Duke says SMU is going to get blown out. Dude, after all the shit you've talked about SMU and Boise State, you better hope so. But
Duke, you better run a parlay this weekend.
Yeah. I'm going to take SMU. I think yeah, give me SMU. I just like there's something about them. I like the Pony Express. I like kind of them being the most disrespected team in the first round, right? Getting kind of that, yeah, we gave you a seed just because we had to, and now you're going to get dog walk. So give me SMU. I like SMU to win, maybe on a late field goal, late touchdown, something like that. And let's say SMU 31, Penn State 28. I like that. And then obviously the biggest game on Saturday. Well, I mean, they're all big games, right? Obviously. But
yeah, obviously, yeah.
The one that I think most people are paying attention to because a lot of different reasons, but you got the Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Tennessee Volunteers in Columbus, Ohio, 8 p.m. Saturday night. I know we've talked about it. There's a lot of chatter on the interwebs about this Tennessee Vols take over the Horseshoe. There's going to be 40% volunteer fans in the Horseshoe. All this stuff. I think that's all bullshit. I think you're going to have maybe 15% of the stadium orange, 20% max. And I've seen it today. I've been talking to a lot of people around that, maybe weren't going to go to the game or weren't really considering it. But then I've had like 5 or 6 of my buddies text me like, hey, I just bought tickets. Like the tickets aren't that crazy expensive. I can't let Tennessee come in here. And so the Ohio State's making a late push here to make sure that this Horseshoe is scarleted out, which I think is huge. I think that's big. This is going to be a fun game.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Did you see any pictures of Tennessee practicing this week?
No, dude, I missed that.
They were practicing indoors while Ohio State was practicing outdoors. I think the temperature is going to play a big factor. Now, if it was snowing, it'd be different, but they're not getting Tennessee's not getting prepared to face the elements like Ohio State is.
That's interesting.
That could play a big factor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously, Tennessee, Knoxville is not that much different weather-wise than Columbus, Ohio. It's a little bit warmer, but overall not that different. But the fact that they're practicing inside, I don't know why you do that.
Yeah,
I've never understood that because like Ohio State practices in the elements they're going to play in. Like if it's going to be an outside game, they're practicing outside. If it's going to be an indoor game, they'll practice indoors. Like, why wouldn't you want to get ready in as close to the elements you're going to be playing in? It makes no sense.
No.
But
yeah,
when you look at it, I mean, here's the thing. You got 2 really good defenses. Ohio State giving up just 10 points a game. Tennessee giving up just 14 points a game. Really good defenses. And I think, and I'll give them a shout out. Excuse me. Oh, boy. But I watched some of the all 22 footage and breakdowns on menacesports.com. If you go over there, sign up for the coach's film room. I think it's the Colonel tier or something like that. It's like $25, and you can watch all the breakdowns of all. I think he did 8 different Tennessee games. This Tennessee team, the defense at least, is legit.
Yes.
And this is going to be probably the best defensive line that Ohio State has faced all year.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and the corners too.
Yeah, the corners are really good. I think they might be a little bit better than Ohio State's corners just because we obviously saw Denzel Burke struggle in the Oregon game, and then Igbinosun loves to get those penalties and give free first downs. But the defenses are going to make or break this game. Offensively, obviously we know what Ohio State is, right? The offensive line is banged up. They've done a decent job outside of just running directly into Mason Graham the last week of the season, every play. But it's going to be hard for them to run the ball in this Tennessee team. And I think Chip Kelly's aware of that because I don't know if you saw some of his comments in his presser, but he was asked about not getting the receivers the ball in the Michigan game. And he said, well, we have to do a better job of that. We have to get them the ball. And it's like, well, no shit. I think everybody knew that going into the game. Why didn't you?
Yeah, you were going tempo. 30 seconds left in the second quarter. You caught Michigan off guard. JJ for a touchdown tied the game up at 10 apiece before going into the half. Second half, where the hell was that? And I think that's playing that game is a valuable lesson for Ohio State and what they need to do to execute to come out Saturday night successful. You got to get it to your speedsters. You got to get it to the freshman phenom and JJ. Get it to the sure thing in Ibuka.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? The other thing too that a lot of Ohio State fans are bitching about is the offensive line and how Justin Fry is coaching. I know Carter,
Mm-hmm.
you and I have talked about it off air and everything, but
Yep.
hats off to him for putting together that offensive line with all
Mm-hmm.
the X factors and the injuries that have come across this year for the Ohio State football team. I mean, I commend him. I give him an A- effort or
Yeah.
A for effort and execution
Yeah.
A as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really blame him for them running stretch 12 times in a row or whatever against Michigan, and it never once worked.
That
And you
never
can't.
worked.
I think a lot of the hate for Justin Fry goes back to some recruiting stuff, which we don't need to get into too much. But I think as far as coaching and development goes, he's done a great job. And
Right.
he brought in Josh Simmons, who was a first-round pick, looked like, until he got hurt. He moved Donovan Jackson out to tackle because they needed him out there, even though he's a natural guard. And I mean, he's a guard. That's what he is. He's just playing tackle right now, and he's doing a pretty good job of it, honestly. And then brings in Seth McLaughlin in the transfer portal. I know nobody wants to give him credit for that because the guy won a Remington Award, but he was never anything more than honorable mention all SEC at Bama, and Bama fans were telling us how bad he was. And then he comes in, gets developed and coached up by Coach Fry and wins a Remington Award. So I think he's done a good job. I would like to see Tager Shabula be a little bit better at that right guard position. And we'll see who we see on the offensive line. I've heard Luke Montgomery is going to get some snaps and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see as well. But the end of the day, what it comes down to, I think, is which defense can stop the other offense, more effectively. Because on the other side of the ball, on Tennessee's offense, they have probably the best running back in the country, maybe at least the best running back in the SEC, and they move the ball well. If Ohio State's defense can slow down that run game and make Nico beat them, I think that's their best bet to win the game. And I think that's been echoed on most shows and everything like that. But ultimately, I think Will Howard has to come out and has to lead this team and has to go make a play. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think Will Howard's going to have to make a play late in the game, and it's going to be a matter of does he make the play or doesn't he? And does Ryan Day and Chip Kelly put him in a position to make a play instead of instead of just not letting him throw the ball, right?
Yeah, running stretch play, 3 plays, and get 1 yard out of that series. When I was at the game with my dad, running that quick out on 3rd and 6, Michigan jumped it and they knew it was coming. Yeah. You gotta be more creative. You gotta hit them with the mesh routes, those pseudo quote unquote pick plays of the mesh concept routes.
Yep.
I think they learned a valuable lesson at the end of last month, and I think they're gonna be ready. I think they're gonna be ready. They're gonna be pissed off. They're hearing all the noise. They're hearing what everybody's saying. Those kids have Twitter. They check Twitter. They do, Carter.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing all the Tennessee fans running their mouth. We're gonna beat your ass. We're gonna plant your flag. You know what? If it's my last game as a senior at Ohio State, I ain't going out like that. I'm gonna let it all hang. Punch him in the mouth. Not quote unquote, not punch him in the mouth, but punch him in the mouth. Give him my best effort, and come out on top and make the great state of Ohio proud with that victory come Saturday night.
I agree. And I think that this team Ohio State has a group of guys that have a lot of pride, right? And they don't want the last thing that happened on that Ohio State field to be the Michigan game or to be a loss to Tennessee. Like they have a lot of pride, and they came back for a reason. They didn't accomplish any of their goals yet. They have one that's still out there. So you got to come out and play hard. I think Jack Sawyer is going to come out with a fire. I think he's going to be maybe more vocal than he has been. And then you need Will Howard to step up and lead this offense. And you got to get some running game, and you got to hit plays. You got to hit plays when they're there. Get those outside playmakers the ball. And so before we get to our predictions or our picks for that. A couple comments here. I believe you're right because I believe SMU is not in the top 10, so it wouldn't even count as a top 10 win. Duke, nobody cares about the Florida Tulane game. That's not a big game. Is Lagway even playing? Nobody cares. Hold on now. I can see Tennessee getting 2020. I can see maybe, maybe, but I'm telling you, it's not going to be as orange as the Tennessee fans are saying on Twitter. And yes, I did see this, Brennan. Did you see the mapped out drawing of how they're going to rip out the goalpost and take it to the Olentangy River?
Good luck. That's all I can say. Right? Good luck.
First of all,
you're going to have probably about 10 different police agencies working there. Everybody with the Ohio State Patrol, they're going to be working mandatory overtime. I guarantee you. Mm-hmm. They're going to have that place locked down.
Yeah. First of all, there's not going to be enough of your fans to overwhelm the amount of law enforcement that's going to be on the field. Even if all 25% of your fans, like if the stadium's 25% orange, even if every single one rushes the field, which they won't, like that's not how it works. You still not, and let's not forget, I don't know, Tennessee fans don't know this, but those goalposts are cemented into the ground up to like 6 feet deep. Like, good luck, man.
Yeah, you're going to need a bulldozer.
Yeah. So I do not see that happening. It's a funny thing to put on Twitter. It's a good troll job, and I like it. But how do you see this game playing out? Like, what is your gut instinct? If you had to pick, put money on it, what are you taking?
Man, that's a tough question because I've been nervous all week. Low key nervous. I think Ohio State has the upper edge with the talent, and with the wideouts, I think you can overwhelm their secondary with those 3 wideouts. Swing out Q in the flat. I'm gonna go with the Buckeyes, man. 35-24.
Okay.
Defense plays a sound game. Maybe they give up 1 or 2, maybe less than a handful of big plays. I think Will Howard has his coming. Will Howard has his coming out moment with Ohio State.
I believe. I agree with you. I think ultimately, Ohio State has too much riding on it, and I think you're gonna Ryan Day is going to have to coach like he did in that 2022 Georgia game. I don't know if he needs to do a little of the nose candy or something before, whatever he's got to do. Take some Adderall. I don't know, but he's got to go out and he's got to coach free, and he's got to coach like his job depends on it because it kind of does, right? So go out there. And so I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I like the Buckeyes to win like 24-17 or something like that. And just, it's going to be defensive stops. Turnovers are going to determine the game. Hopefully, Will Howard doesn't have too many. The one thing I like about Will Howard when he does turn the ball over is that it doesn't seem to rattle him. Like he doesn't. Right. He doesn't come back out and look like trash the rest of the game because he threw a pick. Like he's got a short memory. He forgets it, moves on, and usually looks better afterwards. So hopefully the Ohio State's defense can force Nico to make some mistakes, and we'll see. But yeah, I like the Buckeyes to win. I think when you look at this, I didn't pick Clemson, but I could see there only being one SEC school left after this weekend, and that's Georgia. And we all know, we'll get into the Notre Dame stuff more tomorrow. Oh, but did you see the Notre Dame hype video?
I think I
with Young Jeezy's song?
No, I didn't see that one. No.
Oh, you gotta watch. I posted it on my Instagram, man. You gotta watch it.
I'll have to watch it.
It's awesome. It is so good, and I love it. Like, I think Pat McAfee said, Notre Dame having Jeezy on their hype video was at plus 10,000. Like, you just didn't expect it, but it was awesome. I would play it, but I don't want to get dinged for copyright because I'm sure Notre Dame has that locked down right now. Brandon picked Tennessee, but he doesn't like that they're practicing indoors. And if OSU still hung over from Michigan, it could be a tight game. And if they get into a tight game and Ryan Day starts coaching tight, it's not going to be good for the Buckeyes.
You gotta let it fly. Saturday, 72 and 48 hours. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did you see the Ohio State trailer for the Tennessee game?
I did see it. I liked it with Maurice Claret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's funny, like that's more of what I expect from Notre Dame, is like that, just like, it pumps you up, it gets you ready, but like it's more of the same of what you expect. Like it's not very, edgy or anything like that. Like, but it gets I liked it, but and then Notre Dame releases Young Jeezy to, and I was like, man, that's crazy. But yeah. I liked it. I like Mo a lot. I like Maurice Claret a lot.
Yeah.
But before we get out of here, yeah, go ahead.
No. I forget what I was going to say. That's the thing.
Okay.
Shit.
Yep, you're good. Before we get out of here, I appreciate everybody stopping by. Again, we do have the ESPN Bracket Challenge going on. $20 to get in. Go on the ESPN Fantasy site or app and click on Bracket Challenge and search Andre Duke. It'll pull up our group. The password is Laces Out with a capital L, LACESOUT 2024. Go ahead and enter your bracket. Has to be entered before kickoff of the Notre Dame game tomorrow night. And then Venmo Richie $20. And if you can comment on something or DM me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, or Richie or Duke, and we'll figure it out. And we'll send you the Venmo, so that way we can get that all taken care of. And then winner takes all. So late January, mid-January, when it's all said and done, the winner of the bracket challenge will be walking away with probably at least $300 or $400 or something like that.
Yeah. And I think how they do their bracket, it's based off like points of the win. So, and whoever has the most points will win. Yeah. And the tiebreaker is picking the national title game and amount of points. If you get those right, you win. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
It's pretty much exactly like ESPN's March Madness bracket challenge, right? You get different point values for each round. You get it right, you get points. The person with the most points at the end of the thing wins it all. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker is total points in the national championship game. I believe if you don't have the teams right in the national championship game, your tiebreaker still counts. So if that were to happen to somebody. But if you're out there on Twitter, hop on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. Click the bell notification so you get notified when we go live. We will be going live. I'm just going to say probably 5 o'clock tomorrow night. I'm not sure. Maybe 5:30. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but it'll be probably early evening. Me and Duke still have to figure that out and see what his schedule is like. And then Richie, I'll talk to you off as well, and we'll figure it out. But it'll be at least a couple hours before the game. Kickoff is 8 o'clock. So before that, so that way we can get it all done for you guys. And we'll put it out on the show's Twitter page early. Either later tonight or tomorrow morning, what time we're going to be going live, so everybody can plan for that. But yeah, we'll be breaking down the rest of the Notre Dame Indiana game tomorrow, and just getting everybody ready, man. I'm so pumped up. I can't wait for tomorrow night to get here. I'm so ready.
I can't wait either. I'm pulling for the Irish. It's going to be a sight to see with the snow in South Bend.
It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait. I mean, it's going to be. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great they couldn't have scheduled it any better to have this be the first playoff game, because it's going to be such an aesthetically pleasing game because of the uniforms and the teams that are in it, and then the snow and everything. I mean, Notre Dame Stadium, Touchdown Jesus, the Golden Dome, like all of it is it's like, college football, right?
That's storybook stuff, man.
Yeah. And so that's going to be the very first 12-team college football playoff game at a home site. Like it couldn't have been written any better. But we'll get into kind of breaking down more of the game and give predictions and everything like that tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Richie, you got anything else?
No, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend, man. It's like Christmas come early.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, everybody, and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.